as some of you may remember, I covered furry raiders and wildlife in one of my last videos. I brought up some screenshots, some things that had happened with both of those topics and groups, and there was some pretty good discussion in the comments. Interestingly enough, I actually did get some comments from Foxler, which was actually interesting to see that instead of just getting like an all caps anger fest, I actually got like some form of pretty mature discussion, which was fairly refreshing to see. My personal thoughts on some of what we're discussing don't really change too much, but it was nice to see that there was an open dialogue happening as opposed to what I had expected, which would basically be described as like World War IV furry version with people in all comments yelling and calling me an SJW and how dare I, etc., etc. But interestingly, one of the things that came out of this is I was actually hit up by Cabone, who is another furry YouTuber whose channel I've looked at a little bit here and there. I don't necessarily agree with every video he makes, but I do agree that his videos are pretty well put together, thoughtfully executed, and there is a pretty strong attention to presentation and consistency on that channel, so I give him kudos for genuinely maintaining a pretty strong channel presence and really doing a great job as a furry YouTuber. Now, he had reached out to me about an audio interview, and this was something that I found kind of interesting. I did not expect anyone to want to get on the phone and honestly talk about their involvement or perception or feelings or, just their 2 cents on the Furry Raiders. So naturally I accepted. So what I have for you guys today is the actual audio of Cabone and I discussing Furry Raiders, some other topics, and just, trying to get a sense of, why he himself is involved and, what he's gotten out of it, what the positive aspects of that are, what some of the cons are, where he thinks it's going. I didn't go in with a formalized script, which may have been a bad idea, but I just wanted to get his honest 2 cents on all of this, because understandably, as someone that probably doesn't really get it, I wanted to get some information from someone who does really get it and, can shed some more light on why this group has so many members and, what the real appeal is and maybe some of the struggles they themselves are going through with some of the perceptions and assumptions being made about the group. So here you go, guys. This is a completely impromptu interview with Cabone. Also, this clip is really, really long, so strap in. It's about 53-ish minutes of us chatting, so get comfortable. All right, so we're now live. So thank you so much for taking the time to reach out to me. I understand that you have a little bit more affiliation with that certain community, Furry Raiders, and I was wondering if you wanted to give me kind of your perspective, your experience with the group, and, kind of more information. I understand when I did the video, I don't have really any contact with the Furry Raiders. I'm in New York, so we really don't bump into them here at all. So a lot of what I had was reading and kind of, I went through as many pro and anti videos as I could sit through in a 5-hour period to try to get like a pro and con. So I would love to hear like your perspective on what the group is.
Yeah, a lot of the videos that you're seeing that's drama-filled and talking bad about the Raiders and stuff, it's a repeat video of the same junk over and over and over again because nobody wants to sit down and speak with, members and get the real story. Because, people feed off of drama. People are getting subscribers. People are getting likes on their videos and stuff, and it's just, basic media mumbo jumbo. If you want legit truth, I tell you, Foxler is on his Twitter and our website and on Facebook. His message boxes are open. Cody Wolf, You can talk with him and set up, something to talk with. It's just hearsay and word of mouth is not reliable. I mean, rumors are bullcrap. It doesn't do anything but spread hate.
Yeah.
And I understand that you said that Foxler looked like he wasn't pleased with your last video, and he's just upset because he's tired of being bullied, he's tired of being picked on, he's tired of dealing with the same crap.
That makes total sense.
Yeah. And like anybody, anger is an emotion, and if you push someone's buttons wrong, they're going to say something about it.
Yeah, definitely.
So I appreciate you talking with me about this. I have no problem with talking with people that want to work out stuff and want to hear what's really going on. So if you have any questions or whatnot, I'll be free to answer anything.
Yeah.
A little bit about me. My persona is the dog father Al Cabone. I've been in the fandom since 2012. My main goal of joining the fandom was to reach out to people and help people within the fandom and outside of the fandom. Helping people with depression, helping people with anxiety, or just, issues that makes people depressed. Because I'm tired of looking at the news and seeing some kid that didn't have any friends or couldn't reach out to anybody end up killing himself because some Yahoo turned around and told him to do so. And then when you ask them, why did you tell him to kill himself? Oh, I was just joking. That's not joking. I'm tired of seeing my generation and the younger generation screwed. Nobody there to help them.
Yeah.
So I created this character out of that because I was dealing with issues of my own.
Okay.
My mother had cancer and it was killing her. I didn't know where to turn, and joining the furry fandom with the few friends that I did make really helped because I had, support. I had people I could go to that understood what I was going through. And when the time came where my mom passed, I'm not pointing any fingers, I'm not blaming anybody, but I was at a point in my life where I was desperate, and the only couple people that came to speak with me, surprisingly, was members of the Raiders. Nobody else would answer my mails. Nobody else would speak with me. The only information I got from somebody was, well, we have a meet, so I'm too busy. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
My experience with the Raiders, they haven't hurt anybody. They don't post violent or Nazi propaganda. They don't support any type of Nazi junk or hate speech. They actually go out in their community and try and help people. They hold fur meets and stuff and support their community, as you can see on our the photos of when they were in their town in Colorado. There's no hate, violence, or anything in the stuff and meet photos. And I didn't understand how come the Raiders were getting so much heat. And the main thing that I saw was what people keep saying about the armband. They're saying it's hate speech. It's a Nazi thing. Okay, well then I say this. One, it's clearly not a swastika. Two, they're not marching around and protesting black people. They're not protesting gay rights. I mean, crap. Foxler and Cody Wolf are a gay couple. Cody Wolf's armband is a rainbow.
Yeah.
A couple other Raiders are multicolored armbands, so it's not just red and circle. If you also look at other things, other celebrities got hit with the same thing. Like if you saw my video, Lady Gaga got accused of Nazi hate speech because she wore an outfit that had a red armband on it. But nobody went to look that was the same jacket that Michael Jackson wore.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, it's the same melodrama.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I guess as an outsider looking in, like, some of the first things that I tend to look at, because I don't like to make assumptions about any group of people, like, before I was in the furry community, I definitely had a negative initial like interaction with it, because the first interaction I had was like Rule 34 cringe chan, just looking at the worst that comes out of it. And I'm just like, this is furries? Oh God, I want nothing to do with this. And it literally took going through, I want to say like a transformative process of my rave outfits slowly morphing closer and closer to furries, to the point of which I actually commissioned a fursuit. I'm like, oh, these people are actually completely normal. They've got their weird groups within them, but like so does everything. So initially coming into this, like I didn't want to just slam the Raiders mercilessly. I'm like, I want to give an objective rundown of what bothers other people, and then what other people react to, what some of the accusations are, what little evidence on it exists, and then at the end I'm like, I genuinely don't know if some of the things that I had uncovered was shared by all the Raiders, some, none, if any applied. Like, I just didn't really know that much. I mean, I think the only things that I reacted to, honestly, the armbands, like, I don't like them, but do I think they are absolutely the worst thing ever? I mean, maybe not the best idea if you're walking by, like, a Holocaust center, but, you know, maybe don't wear them at, like, a peace protest, but admittedly, like, take, for instance, the Confederate suit, or at MFF, right? So, admittedly, anyone who's Deep South will tell you it's heritage, not hate. So, yes. However, if you grew up under the stars and bars in a different context, that heritage is pretty gnarly. So in that situation, I'm like, yes, that is definitely a bad idea gone worse, going to a pretty liberal con. Like, MFF is very liberal, and expecting, like, nothing to happen is just very naive. I'm sure it was not meant hatefully, but for some people, a symbol is a really strong thing to use. And admittedly, some of the initial designs of those Furry Raider logos, like, I went back and saw that at one point it had a deeper crimson, it had more striated red background, it wasn't as defined, but I think what people initially see, and probably what Rolling Stone saw off the bat, was red armband, black symbol, white circle, people in groups wearing that image, and like the first instinct of any person who doesn't have context, and I think that's the big thing, is if you don't have context, is they're like, oh, that looks a lot like a Nazi armband.
Yeah.
That's like the first reaction. So that was like because initially I was just like, furry Nazis, really? Like, we're really? Really? I'm pretty sure if like Hitler encountered a furry Nazi, he'd roll over in his grave and shoot himself in the head. Like,
like, what is this?
Like, what the hell is this? But admittedly, if you're like a Rolling Stones article writer and you've never made any effort to look into the community, yeah, like a red armband looks pretty Nazi-ish, and yeah, it's probably going to be a pretty good hook line for your news article. Yeah, if Daily Beast like asks like 3 furries who've never interacted with the Raiders what they are, yeah, usually like the consensus is Nazi, just because of the armband, and also like some of the things that Foxler may have posted as like satire that lacked the context to it, so it didn't really look like satire.
I can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, that was my big question, is like, so is that satire or trolling? Like, why did those posts happen? That's the one where I lack the context. I have the screenshots, but I don't have the context in which they came from.
The story of Foxler, you can watch his videos on YouTube called Foxler Uncensored.
Okay.
He tells his story. He's open to talk. Like I said, you can message him, and you can talk with him one-on-one. He has no problem with it. I can tell you what I know, and from my experience with him, he doesn't hide anything. He's fully forward, and the whole thing came from even before he was a furry. He was picked on and bullied because of his race.
Okay.
He's mix of German and black. And people have called him, a mudblood, and called him a Nazi ever since he was young, picking on him and stuff.
Okay.
And you get that kind of, attitude toward you for so long, it builds up and builds up. Pain turns to anger, and you're going to retaliate.
Yeah.
So like with me, the only piece that he kind of found a little bit was he found some friends in the furry fandom when he was on Second Life.
Yeah, because initially Furry Raiders started kind of, I don't want to say support group because I don't know if that really applies, but it was kind of like a ragtag team of people supporting each other in the game, right? Like that's where it originated.
Yeah, they created the first and of Furry Raiders in Second Life. They when I just started playing Second Life with my wife, so I'm still learning how in the world that game functions.
I'm not on it for a reason. It's way too hard. I prefer League of Legends. That makes way more sense to me. Like much easier. I got on Second Life for like on a friend's account. And I'm like, I don't know how the heck you play this. This is too hard. I'm done.
I made a truce with my wife. I says, okay, I'll play Second Life with you if you play World of Warcraft with me. And she says, deal.
Gotcha.
So, from what I was here, from what the group told me, they said that when they met on Second Life and they just became friends in the virtual world, to joke around like, a bunch of other people do on Second Life, they go into clubs or whatever, dance clubs, stuff, and they mess with each other, joking around, and people started pointing at the armband in a virtual world.
Yeah.
And throwing stuff, so they're in a virtual world. They were gonna, troll back.
Ah, okay.
Back and forth, and their group grew in the Second Life game, and it was just, a group of friends.
Gotcha.
And Foxler found some peace in that. He had some friends to talk to and stuff, and they decided to bring it out of the virtual world and into reality. He created his persona, got his fursuit made on the creation of his Second Life character.
Got it.
He had some drama with the fursuit maker who saw the armband and went completely nuts and stole his money. He paid I think it was $125 or $150 he paid for his rev sheet. And she didn't make his rev sheet and she never refunded him.
God.
And took his name and everything and started posting it everywhere, saying, a hate speech for furry Nazi trying to make me do this. And he's like, are you serious? Not again. And
that just speaks to professionalism. Like, if you do not feel comfortable making a piece of art, it's your responsibility as a company to just very plainly say, I don't feel comfortable, and refund. Like, if someone asked me to make a suit with a swastika across the ass, like, I'd just be like, look, I'm not comfortable. You can find another maker. Here's your money back. Have a lovely day. Enjoy your life. No, thank you. Like, that to me is the only acceptable way to go about that. I can't believe that happened to him. That's nuts.
Yeah. And this is around the time where, it's, you look at his character and it's not vindictive. It's not evil looking. It's not, he's a cute, cuddly fox, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, that's why it's even weirder to read some of, like, those out of context. Like, I put a few in there. Like, out of context, as I was making the video, I'm like, I would just love to know how and why this post came to be, because with zero context for, like, I think one of them I put up was the uncomfortably weird one, like, if I want to put my dick in my dog, and I'm like, I'm not even gonna ask where that one came from. And then there was another one, I'm just like, I don't know how you went about posting this, and if it was trolling, I'm sure it was hilarious in the context that you did it, but as an internet citizen that just sees it among other, like, really odd out of context posts, I'm not sure what about that is supposed to be funny. That's why, like, I don't particularly like To Griffin, but the reason I do, like, I feel like I'm very valid in the way I hold it. I don't think he's a bad person. I just don't enjoy his comedy because I find it a little too abrasive. That's all.
Foxler, where those posts and stuff came from, Foxler made a mistake and he emotionally snapped.
Ah, okay. All right.
What he did was he didn't want to fight. He didn't want to argue. He didn't want to bring, like, he wanted to keep attention off of him.
Got it.
What he did was he said, if people are going to pick on me, if people are going to label me, why fight them? Just agree with them. Gross them out. If I gross them out and make them not want to be around me, they'll go away. That was his thought.
Oh, Foxler, no.
Yeah, so he went, fine, you calling me a Nazi? Yeah, I'm a Nazi, blah, 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 blah.
Oh,
Then
no.
someone called him a dog effer, and that's where that thing came from. He goes, well, yeah, haven't you tried? And it just
Mm.
backed on him.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then that makes more sense.
he wishes he could take it back, but since it's on media, people got a hold of it, and it multiplied.
Gotcha. All right, because I was obviously as I was initially only gonna do the wildlife break because that one has quite a clusterfuck of evidence on
Mm-hmm.
it. But with that one, like someone had alluded to Foxler being engaged with that also, and I was like, well, I haven't really heard about this. Like the kid trolls pretty hard. Like I know that's like a thing that he's been doing for a while, but like I don't know. But when I saw
It's
that, I'm like, I don't really have significant evidence here, but it's been posited. If anyone has more information, tell me because I don't like I don't know.
it's a personal defensive method. I mean, if you speak with him, you'll see what I'm talking about. He's a cool guy. But
Mm-hmm.
if you run your mouth or you say stuff mean to him, that's how he tries to emotionally protect himself. He puts up that wall, or his muzzle will start running to try and get you to leave him alone.
Yeah. I mean, I noticed that in the comments though. Like, I don't know if you got a chance to look through them, but he did actually comment, which I was very surprised. I did not think he was gonna like shout back. But like initially, the first comment was just kind of like a one sentence one liner, and I was like, I didn't really get where he was going with that, so I tried to explain. I'm like, I'm not really sure what the context is of this. Do you mean this or do you mean that? And I think towards the end of it, we had like a mutual understanding or something or other. So I didn't leave things like nasty with him because obviously I don't know him, so it'd be like really rude to assume.
Yeah.
But at least like one of the things that I want to achieve with that video is just like put out there maybe for even for the furry raiders so they understand like what the outside is like thinking and feeling. Although you guys have like 70 videos up already of other people saying it, but just like what the outside in is really feeling and thinking because that's kind of where I was. Like I don't really know what this group is. I know like two people who are in it, but not really. Um but no, that was one interest of mine, and I do know that Cody has done some fur meets, and those I've heard positive things about that. And I know like the RMFC incident was not solely furry raiders, but I did mention it in the video that I made because a lot of what media was reporting was direct involvement.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what led to that getting shut down, but from what I can recall, is security being mentioned and taxes being mentioned, and Raiders only really being mentioned because a lot of the backlash that came from the punching Nazis incident was the con being concerned for safety and needing to hire more security and that breaking the bank and ultimately killing it. But again, I haven't been able to find one solid shred of evidence that firmly proves that, which kind of sucks.
Here's what's really messed up about that. Uh, I don't know Dio. I don't know any of the people involved with Dio. All I know is what I've seen on her Fur Affinity and the interview she had with I forgot the guy's name.
I think it's Furry Life because I did watch that one as another piece of research before I did the video.
Yeah, and I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not saying Dio is a mean person, but you really can't sit there and say I can't wait to punch some Nazis when the conversation you're tagging furry raiders as Nazis, and then turn around and say, "Well, I didn't say I was going to hit furry raiders. You labeled them Nazis, and then you
Yeah.
said I'm going to punch some Nazis." That's not a joke. That's
No.
like if somebody says, "I can't wait to punch," furfags, and then you're going to label gay people as in the community as that. You've
Yeah.
just directly threatened the gay community and the furry fandom. But I
Exactly.
was just joking. No, you wasn't.
Yeah.
And then another thing that lit, the thing on fire. The person that responded with, "Watching you get shot would be more entertaining." that wasn't even a furry raider. We don't even know who that was that posted that.
I'm sure just a hype troll that saw
Yeah.
a good thread, just hopped right on it. Seen enough of those. They're like, oh, is this edgy? Let me chime in with my own edgy sauce. I'm like, oh god, please stop. But no, I figured, and that kind of probably goes back to the way that Foxler initially like lashed out. Like that, doing it like that is probably the worst approach that can be taken.
Yeah, because ever since
Yeah.
I joined the Raiders, and they actually called me and asked me if I'd be interested in being an admin. I knew there was going to be, controversy behind it, but the way I see it, the Raiders have a lot of positive potential if they keep going in the positive direction.
Yeah.
There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There's stuff that we're working on, and with my experience with trying to help people and looking at the world as the way it is, it hurts me to where the furries say they don't want nothing to do with outside world politics. We're furries, we're one, we're together, we're a family. But yet a lot of them are practicing the same garbage that they ran away from when they came into the fandom.
Yep.
There's division in the fandom. There's segregation in the fandom. There's other labels for people. Like the one I hate the most is basic fur. I'm like, are you serious?
I mean, my least favorite is Popufur because I don't think it exists, personally. Yeah. It doesn't exist. It's not a real term. You made a cute suit, and it is cute, and people like it. That is literally why you have more views.
Yeah.
You're not Popufur. You just have a cute suit. Like, I don't know, dude. My suit's cute. Your suit's cute. I'm not going to shit on yours unless the color scheme is just really bad, in which case I'll just, mention that maybe you should rethink that color scheme in the future, but that's about the nastiest I'll get. I mean, honestly, if we had, I live in New York, we don't have any cons here, like, whatsoever. So, like, my con experience is limited to MFF only right now. So, like, if someone showed up at MFF with an armband, admittedly, I would probably be a little, like, put off initially just because I find them a little weird, but I wouldn't expect that it would cause that much of a mess just because, like, when we did have that Confederate suitor at MFF, because it's a private event, I can fully understand staff asking anything that is, like, offensive or inappropriate on the con floor, to be taken back to the room, or, just politely ask them to not wear it on the main floor around children, just, not to cause a fuss. I've definitely seen, like, enough puppy play BDSM gear be asked to be put back in the room, which I have no problem with. That should not be on the floor. But I guess one of the things that I was interested in is I heard, like, in some instances, like, when either cons or fur meets or local groups weren't comfortable with the armbands just, because of concerns from other people, what is usually your guys' reaction to that? Is the reaction to, push back and, really demand that you keep them on? Or are you guys open to either, taking them off in certain situations where, it's not welcomed by the con, or, making a modification like a shirt or some other form of, like, the actual representation that maybe is a little bit less, trying to look for the word here, is a little bit less, like, abrasive to people as, like, a first introduction to the Furry Raiders?
What over time and stuff and events that's happened, the Raiders have agreed to, if a meet or a con says, we really would appreciate if you wouldn't wear the armbands, armbands have been removed.
Ah, okay.
But there are those furries that are so addicted to wanting to hate people, and it's in the fandom. The fandom is poisoned with this crap. And
it's poison with Bewares to start. I can't even imagine how much farther it goes with Furry Raiders.
Foxler has been more than cooperative. He's removed his armband and walked around, and people just ignore him, won't even talk with him. There's a couple furs that, are cool. They get pictures with him and he'll sit down and talk. But then there's been those furs that just want him to leave completely. They've even threatened of destroying his fursuit. They don't want his fursuit to be able to be worn at cons. So now Foxler, his character, is now a target. So it's not just about an armband. It's about hating an individual.
Got it. Okay.
Strong, man. I mean, me, I just recently got purchased an armband because I'm an admin, I'm in the Raiders, but I don't wear the armband. I wanted it just to have something to put next to my badge collection and stuff because I'm a furry. I collect art,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
the badges are hand embroidered.
Oh, yeah, I noticed that when I was grabbing reference pictures for that. They do seem like they are handmade. They're not mass produced. So there's definitely some care that goes into those.
Yep, and mine, I'm one that loves originality, so I'm creating my own thing to where I have a leather vest that's being made, like kind of like biker style traditional, and I'm having an embroidered yellow circle with yellow trim around the paw as my patch. You can choose whatever color you want, so
Oh,
mine is
okay.
yellow, and that's how I'm going with that. If someone was to tell me, hey, that's the Furry Raider symbol, we'd like you to remove the vest, I ask you, is that right? It's not an armband. It's
Yeah.
not anything. If it was a thing to where, like, either take it off or leave the con, I would take it off at that con when I was there, but you can bet that I wouldn't go to that con again
Yeah.
because it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Another thing that really upset me is I found out what really happened. The first incident, if you heard about it, where they were saying that the Raiders were taking over the con and bought up a bunch of hotel rooms.
Yeah, I heard about that and I
Oh,
had a couple different sources. So I do know that you guys didn't necessarily buy up the con, but you did secure a number of rooms. And I know that that wasn't positively received by a lot of people. Can you like go a little bit more into like exactly what happened there?
okay, so the Raiders had a an event that they wanted to do because there's a lot of furries in the fandom that want to go to cons, but either they don't have the money to do it, and they don't have the transportation. Something like you always hear a furry saying, "I wish I could go to so and so con, but I just can't afford it."
Yeah,
Right
that's why I
now,
don't.
you can purchase a weekend pass. $30, $25, what I've seen, but it's the cost of the hotel room that eats your wallet.
Yes,
Well,
definitely.
Foxler and a couple of the members of the Raiders. Now, this is before I became a member.
Okay.
Uh, they had a meeting and they decided, hey, let's reach out to our community and we'll put down the money and offer, hotel rooms to furries that's never been to a con and just say, hey, this is from us. You can, have fun. And
Okay.
they figured, hey, that would be something positive in the community. Well, nope, because people don't like people being that nice. And they also labeled it as, oh, the Raiders are buying off people. No, we're being charitable toward our own people.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was the whole thing with that didn't go well because people didn't understand. And when the internet blew up over it, furries were the best way I could describe it, were afraid to take the charitable offer
Hmm.
and rooms weren't being occupied. So Foxler went to the con hotel and went, look, we're gonna release these other rooms, loosen up so people stop griping. And it was just a good idea that went sour because people whined and cried about it. Foxler would have easily went, do you want a hotel room? Take one. But they
Yeah.
didn't want to do that because it's the Furry Raiders that did it.
Yeah. So, given some of the, some of the blowback from some of these events, do you think the Furry Raiders would ever consider either rebranding or trying to shape the group in a way that makes it a little bit more approachable to the rest of the community? And, kind of, I feel like the armbands are the armbands, like whatever. But with some of the press that's been had about it, like, do you foresee that the Raiders in the future might try to rebrand or even relaunch either as a new name or, try to make a big effort with the community to just reposition themselves and try to like ditch some of the negativity in any big way?
I 100% agree to what you're saying. I've talked with Foxler and Cody about, future endeavors and stuff like that because, like I said, I see a lot of potential with the Raiders in the community of furries and also the outside world. Um, I'm personally wanting to do some charity work with military vets, um, orphanages, stuff like that. These are projects that are being talked about. Um, as far as drama goes, it's very, very difficult. I mean, you're a furry yourself, correct?
Yes, I currently have 2 suits. Entered the fandom, I want to say formally 2 years ago, but I've been like quietly lurking in it probably for like close to 6 years and just didn't interact with the community at all because of the job I had. If one person at my job had found out that I was furry, I would have been like insta fired. So
Hmm.
until I switched jobs, I didn't actually present anything. Like the closest you would see on social media was like a tail, because anything further than that, I knew that our workplace was very un. Well, they didn't have a very open mind about things that they found very weird. So I can fully understand like how hard it is to change that perception, because you'd hear about shit that happened in the news that involved furries, and every time it happens, I just like I cringe deep down because I know every one of those is like a direct shot to the community, even if it's not a group that's involved. Like I'm not in Furry Raiders at all, and
Correct.
I don't think I ever would be, because A, I'm not in Colorado, and B, like I don't think I'd be able to keep up with it anyway. But I mean I run like 4 channels and I do freelance. There's no way I'll keep up with it. But even though Furry Raiders is not something I'm directly affiliated with, them being written up in Rolling Stone, I know is a direct headshot to the community, because it brings us attention in all of the wrong ways. Like if you've gone to any Abergwine video, like
Hmm.
every single time we make TV news, you hear gimmicky animal music, you hear like people on the street going, "Oh, they're fucking weird." Like, yeah, it is weird, but if you actually went and chatted with the community, like you'd notice that yes, it's weird as hell to walk around as a dog. I get it. It is very strange, but the community at large is not like a bunch of weirdos. I mean, they're not like fedora wearing Redditors with neck beards, like pissing on people and like calling out bronies. That's just a small section. But anytime we get in the news, it is a direct shot to the community. So when that Rolling Stone article came out, like I didn't really give a crap about the Furry Raider drama, but once that dropped, I'm like, oh shit, I should really pay attention, because this is something that will affect anyone in fursuit, armband or not. Now there's this belief that the furry community has a Nazi problem, and I really don't want to go suiting in New York City, which is already dangerous, and have someone come up to me when I'm in my skull suit and, accuse me of being a Nazi, or coming after me because my suit is macabre, dark, and creepy looking. Like, I just don't want that. So as soon as that happens, I'm just like, ah, shit, not again. Which was literally my reaction when I read the article. I'm like, ah, shit, not again. Not again, guys.
I live in Ohio.
Ah,
I'm
okay.
not. I'm not in Colorado. Uh, my take on how the Raiders do things, like I told you, outreaching to people. If someone's in trouble or someone's needs somebody to talk to, I offer my ears and I listen to what they have to say and give them any type of non-medical advice that I can, and it's helped a lot of people on my channel and in person. That's how the dog father works. His
Mm-hmm.
character is, trying to be there for somebody.
God,
Uh,
okay.
as a Raider, it has a lot of stigma in it, but then if you look at it, the Furry Raiders are a self-reflection of the fandom itself.
Mm,
You know, the fandom has a lot of heat from CSI and uh,
yeah.
Shoe Fox's thing on the Tyra Banks show. People think that we're a bunch deviants and stuff like that, like Kage has talked about.
Yep.
So we're a self-reflection of that from shit that's backlash. And what's sad is it's from the furry fandom. Oh, they're a bunch of Nazis. Okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. As soon as I came out, I'm like, great, we're already. Let's see, we have Tyra Banks calling us sexual deviants. We have CSI Miami calling us sexual deviants. We have Rolling Stone calling us Nazis. Like, what's next, guys?
Oh,
Are we gonna have a furry terrorist next? Like, God help us all if that happens.
have you seen the furry fandom movie?
Who put that out?
I don't know who put it. It's on YouTube, the trailer or whatever, and it fully surrounds furry fandom as a fetish.
Oh.
And they start talking about, like, it sounds like they're
No.
supporting Uncle Kage, but then it turns around at the end of it as a dark side type of where they get people bashing Kage, saying that he's not equal. He keeps saying that, telling us to hide our sexuality, and it's like, oh my god, really?
I mean, I'll be
movie.
honest, Kage can be really hard to watch sometimes just because I think when he and Two Griffin team up, it goes from 0 to slightly inappropriate for children really, really fast.
Oh yeah.
But, admittedly, I get where he's coming from. Where if you know you're gonna have CBS News on the con floor, you do not want them to bump into a dude in full latex as their first interview, because it's really not gonna set the right kind of tone. So I respect that, but at the same time, some of the points he makes, like, oh, they're being too loud in their con parties. I'm like, look, dude, this is my only vacation all year. Yes, I'm going to drink. Yes, I'm going to dance to dumb music in a dog suit. Like, I get it. You don't like it. I'm sorry. But, like, I appreciate what you're doing for the community, but, like, I know you're an old guy and you got to, like, get your sleep, so we'll try to keep it down for you. Sorry. But, like, with some of those, I'm just like, oh, God. Like, anytime, like, I think the best advice I think I've ever gotten from him is when you have to give an interview to someone who's clearly from a news station looking for the big hook, is like literally just, if they start going into the deviant side, just going, oh, I'm sure it exists, but I don't really do it, which is true. I have literally no interest in it. My characters are pretty much just for entertainment. I have no interest in that. So whenever people go on, it's like, oh, I'm a furry, but I'm not into like the sexual side. I'm like, oh God, stop, please. No, stop down that road. So I get that. I get that side. That to me is the cringiest, when that kind of shit hits the TV, and I'm like, great. I still can't tell my mom I'm a furry because all she's seen on the news is this CBS reporter interacting with like a giant undead deer thing, saying that they're gonna. I don't know which interview that was, but they came up to some guy and was like, I'm gonna eat your soul. I'm like, great. Fuck. That's good. But no, yeah. So I'm really glad we're able to cover some of these, because there's definitely a lot of unknowns with Furry Raiders, because obviously, like, a lot of it is what the community speculates on the large end, and like there's not much that usually comes from Furry Raiders that gets circulated much. So I'm really glad we're able to clear up some of that, and you know how some of that's come to be, why some of those things are a thing, and you know why it's not necessarily what people think. One thing I did ask is if there's anything you'd want to tell anyone who has literally never encountered Furry Raiders and has only seen the hype. Like, what is one thing you'd want to say to them about the group?
Basically, don't rely on hearsay or what somebody tells you is their opinion of us, because opinions is just what people think from what they see. If you want to really know what the Furry Raiders are about, who we are, come talk to us. Well, we talk to everybody. We're not, gonna enlist you in a military thingy. No. There's a lot of lies on us that, just like the fandom outside of Raiders has a lot of lies on them. We want people to talk to us. We want to be a family. We want to be one as a fandom and not separate and segregated and split off. And also, you, Rage Hound, if you ever want to speak with any member of the Raider, you're more than welcome. You know where I'm at. And like I said, you can contact Cody Wolf or Foxler or any of the other ones and say, hey, want to talk? And they will talk with you.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mean to offend Foxler when I did it. I mean, it was literally just a thought piece on what I found. So I hope he didn't take it to heart. But, I mean, if he and Cody ever wanted to chat in the future to kind of, like, dispel, like, the top 5 misconceptions about the Furry Raiders, I'd be more than down to give them a chance to talk. Like, I am not going to just say, oh no, Furry Raiders are Nazis and you can't say anything back because it's my video. Like, no.
Yeah.
That's not mature and it's not helpful for the community. So, I mean, if they want to try to dispel some stuff, talk about some issues, maybe even give people on the internet like a good idea of like where Furry Raiders is trying to go, maybe how they're going to try to clean up some of the past mistakes, like, you know, Foxler getting a little emotional and posting some stuff that, you know, probably didn't end very well. I'd be more than happy to give them a chance to speak because I think that only does the community good. Obviously not, like, the Raiders are not always going to be everyone's cup of tea, and I'm sure I'll get, like, reamed for it, but I don't see the point of just hating for the sake of hating. Like, if I genuinely have a problem with something going on, I'll speak about it, but I'm not closed-minded enough to, like, not let the other person get a chance to speak.
Yeah, it's the same thing with anything in the fandom. I mean, we're a culture of artists and imaginists and creators. Not everybody's going to like the same thing as somebody else. Like, there's people that do not like angel dragons. There's people that do not like certain species of animals. But we still get along.
Yeah.
You know.
Admittedly, I don't love angel dragons, but I like some angel dragons. But, yeah, I get it. Definitely.
I mean, I'll hug telephone and talk to her, but I didn't want to be an angel dragon, but now I'm married to somebody that wants to be an angel dragon, so I married an angel dragon.
It just, you know, life is funny sometimes. I didn't want to, like, I, like, ranted and raved about how I did not want to be this big, pink, sparkly monstrosity, and then I commissioned a cupcake, like, 2 years later. Whoops, oh well. Whoops. It happens.
What's funny is a lot of people I've spoken with, like Cabone, it's the persona that you just did to be a joke that turns out to be the one you're stuck with.
Yeah. Admittedly, yeah. And then also, while I have you on the line, I mean, I know I've asked you a whole bunch of questions. I was wondering if you had any questions for me or people who are outside of Furry Raiders or anything you wanted to clear up about, you know, why we sometimes make those videos or, you know, make any of that content.
This is going to be a video?
Yeah, I'm going to take the straight audio from this. It's recording right now, and I'm not going to cut it at all. I'm going to upload it, and then I'm going to let you have a chance to listen to the whole thing before it goes published live, because I feel like that's the most polite way to do it, to be honest.
Well, I do have a question for the furry fandom as a whole.
Okay.
And that question is, you know, you need to ask yourself, why are you a furry? The reason for that is, if you're just a furry because somebody said it's cool and just says, hey, you got to do this, and you're just in it because somebody said so, you're not going to enjoy it. You know, it's like if you don't like sports, but someone drags you to a baseball game and gives you, you know, a jersey and says, here, you know, you're going to get stigma. You're going to get people talking bad about you, and then it leads to people getting butthurt. Another question I would have for the fandom is, you know, can you love each other? Because that's what the fandom needs. That's the image that the Raiders are trying to put out there to come together.
Okay.
People want to get rid of the hate. Seriously.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, there's a lot of questions I'd have for the fandom, but I know you're short on time, so.
No, that's fine. I figured I'd at least give you a chance to ask a few questions. Lord knows I've been peppering you with them the whole time, but yeah, this was really, really helpful, actually. I got a lot more information than the 7.5, 8? No, I think I spent a full total of 10 hours researching over the week. This was actually a little bit more informative than that. So this was really, really helpful to have. And I do appreciate you making the time. Really great to hear your insight and perspective. And, you know, I've been checking out your videos. You were actually recommended to me off of one of my other videos about top furry YouTubers. And I actually got a couple comments saying Al Cabone. So that's actually how I knew about you before you messaged me. So really appreciate it.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Who threw me your way?
I don't know. I'll comment. I'll tag you in that comment because I said, hey, in the end of the video, I was like, hey, if anyone knows any YouTubers I should check out, link below. And sure enough, there was like 30 mentions of Majira, and then there were like 20 mentions of Rain Foxy, and then sure enough, Al Cabone was one of the ones mentioned. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll subscribe. Like, let's check it out. I mean, admittedly, sometimes we're not always gonna agree. Like, I personally hate the term SJW, but you know what? It's well made content, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, that's I've done several videos on different topics. Like a lot, there's a couple furries that I know that do YouTube. Here's some advice for people in the furry fandom that want to get on YouTube but don't know what to do.
Hmm.
A lot of people will tell you, well, you have to have furry content if you're going to be a furry YouTuber. That is a bunch of baloney.
Yep.
Now, I'm not trying to sound hypocritical because I do have a fursuit. I talk in fursuit. This isn't my fursuit voice, by the way.
No, I know because I heard it and I was like half expecting you to dial in from like New Jersey, and I'm like, wait, what? Because I live in New York and like my family's out in Jersey, so like it's not an unfamiliar like accent to me. But when you came on the phone, I was like, oh, all right. Admittedly, my voice sounds identical in every suit because I lack that ability to make a voice for my suits, and just what comes out usually just comes out.
Cabone, this lady wants to talk to you. Well, what you want to talk about? You did it without me. You know, you were late. Where the heck were you? I was out getting some food. You better eat it. It's getting cold. All right, I'll be there in a minute. Right.
Oh my God! Excellent work.
I have more than just those personas. I mean, if you want to do something in-depth story of Al Cabone, he has a long story of his own.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe you could collab in the future. Yeah. All of mine have like the most basic of stories, and I only have 2 suits, and 2 of them or 2 of my other characters don't have suits right now, but I have not found a maker with the patience to make them. So, I mean, if I commissioned the same person who did my pink sparkle dog, I think they'd want to like throw a wrench at me halfway through because it's a new species, has maybe 1 ref, has the most bizarre color pattern, and just the mouth shape alone would drive her mad. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna bug you with this.
Is it realistic or toony?
I'm gonna probably do her toony, I think, but I don't know because it's like a beaked dog like thing ish. So we'll see. I don't know. It has like a bunch of weird like markings on it. Like it's not hard. I'm not asking them to do rainbow cheetah with black and Serengeti like Mardi Gras across the front, but it's only like 5 colors tops because any of my characters you will only see 4 to 5 colors maximum. So that part won't be hard. Buying fur will be the easiest part. Actually putting it on a form will probably be a nightmare and a half. So we'll see.
Well, there's 2 fursuit makers that I recommend.
Hmm?
There's one very wonderful young lady that lives in the UK. Her name's Lauren Stacy. She's on Facebook. She does really good resin shell base fursuit heads.
Okay.
She's very affordable. And also, this is a shout out to a friend of mine.
Yeah, go for it.
Fire Jag Creations.
Oh, okay. I have not heard of them. So, but they probably don't like blow up social media because that's really how any fursuit maker now makes their money is like, being big.
She's just not just getting started. She's been working on stuff for about a year or 2 years now. So she's still getting out there. But okay. Yeah. Fire Jag.
Got it. We'll definitely check them out.
Yep.
All right, well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I do appreciate you making the time to chat with me. I'm going to try to clean up some of the audio after this, and I'll let you know when it's up.
I thank you for talking to me.
Absolutely, I appreciate it, dude. Not all of us SJW furs are bad.
Exactly. I have an SJW friend that is in Australia. Actually, his name's Bruzo Dragonius.
Oh, okay.
Heard of him. I did an SJW video. A lot of SJWs didn't like it.
I saw it. I held my tongue. I did not comment.
Well, I know you say you're an SJW?
I would probably be identified as one.
But
because I'm really liberal. I marched in every Trump protest. I was gonna vote for Bernie, and then he was no longer an option, so I just voted for the next most stomachable person. And like super liberal, and went to the most liberal college on the face of the earth. So I probably would fit in that box pretty neatly.
Bernie was our Jedi.
I know.
And he went to the dark side.
He was just a nice old man who wanted to save the country.
But yeah, like you and Bruzo are exactly what I predicted. You know, I agree with you. Not all SJWs are bad because you guys actually practice what you preach. You're not, violent. You're very calm, and you want to help people. You want to get word out on things that are, harmful. What I have an issue is where they go freaking nuts and start smashing stuff up and yelling at people and cussing people out. It's like, that's not helping people, that's pushing people away.
Nah, I'm too old for that. I don't have enough energy to smash anything. I walked during the protest. I did not march so much as trudge. So I'm not one of those. I'm very lazy.
It's like, guys, there's a Dairy Queen right here. We can take a break.
Yeah, like, you know what? We've been marching for a good hour, and I see police coming out, and I'm good. Like, I made my point. I'll go home now. So, definitely understand that. But anyways, I'm going to let you go so you can go about your day, so I don't take up too much of it. Yeah, and I will let you know as soon as it goes up.
Okie dokie.
All right, nice talking to you, dude.
Alrighty.
All right, night.
Okay.
See ya. So that was my informal chat/interview with Al Cabone. I will link his channel below. I thought this was really helpful. Admittedly, half the shit I hear about Furry Raiders is usually negative. It's usually involving screenshots. It's usually, taking screenshots or sources from like websites that are not necessarily Furry Raiders and just posting them. So while I don't think I would ever join Furry Raiders just because I personally don't like the armbands, I don't think I would have the time to commit to it, and it's just not something I'm genuinely interested in. I am glad that I have a better perspective on the group as a whole, and I understand where some of their members are coming from, and where some of those screenshots I had in my last video had been taken originally. It makes a lot of sense in some of those situations with Foxler, how those came to be, and it does make a lot of sense now that, understandably, they're still a little bit misunderstood. Some people are just never going to like them, but it is helpful to kind of have the other perspective represented. I know we don't have a ton of this out there. I know Foxler has videos, as Al Cabone mentioned. Al Cabone does have his own videos. Certain other furries have come out of the woodwork who are in Furry Raiders and have given their experience, but those don't tend to get a lot of circulation. So having like an honest chat with a member who's like pretty level-headed and is essentially like the Switzerland of this situation really, really helped. And I think I gained a lot of, positive feedback and information from it that, I can take with me should I ever encounter someone in Furry Raiders at a con or, bump into someone who really identifies with that group and be a little bit more respectful and understanding of what they're coming from and, why they're in the group. What the appeal is. Again, I don't think I would ever join it, but I am glad I know more about it, and I hope this was helpful to all of you guys. Special shout out to Al Cabone for being so gracious and hopping on the phone with me to chat in like a very informal, unscripted interview format. And, thank you to the various people that, suggested I kind of do this. I had a few people tell me I should probably talk to someone from the Furry Raiders. So actually having someone who is a Furry Raider was very helpful in this to get like another perspective. So thank you guys so much. I promise my next video will not be on this topic. I swear to God. But
But anyways, like, comment, and subscribe if you would like to. I can be found on a bunch of different sources. That'll be linked in my exit card. And I hope you guys have a super awesome day. And I hope this was informative and helpful. If you have any feedback, questions, or anything for myself or Al Cabone, please leave them in the comments and tag whichever one of us you have a question for. As he mentioned, he had a bunch of questions that he would someday like to ask the furry fandom at large. If you would like to answer some of the questions that he made in this video, please leave them in the comments, politely please. And, be sure to be nice and informative, because that is the best way that this fandom can learn and grow and flourish and be better. So let's go out there and make a better furry community by being open and honest and willing to have the hard conversations that I was kind of scared shitless to have before the call, but I feel much better about now. Okay,